Welcome to Office Hours with Arrow, a LinkedIn Live event hosted by Arrow leaders who care about what senior living looks like. I'm your host and producer, Rachel Sheehan, and today I'm so excited to have Elizabeth, Charlie, and Maria with me. Welcome. I'm so excited for this topic. It's going to be so fun. But first, I want each of you to introduce yourself. Now, Elizabeth and Charlie have been here before. Maria, this is your first time, so I'm excited for you all to tell us who you are. So I'm going to start with Charlie.
Well, thank you. Thank you for going first with me. I'm Charlie Johnson. I'm a I'm reading what my title is. I'm a creative project coordinator for Arrow. And next month, I will have been with the company for 5 long, hard years.
We have been blessed for 5 years, Charlie.
That's what I meant. Yeah. You know, when I started with this company, I didn't have a single gray hair.
Me either.
I love it. All right, Liz, tell us who.
I'm Elizabeth Thompson. I'm the Senior Regional Director of Memory Care at Arrow. And in November, I will have been here 6 years.
Wow. This is awesome. Maria.
My name is Maria Sady. I am a lead memory care director. I work at Vitalia at Strongsville in Ohio. And in November, will be 4 years for me with Arrow.
That's amazing. This is like, we literally just said, so 7, 6, 5, 4. Very cool. Very cool. What a fun longevity we have here. So I'm excited to get into this topic of engagement profiles and plans and talk through everything about how we serve our memory care residents through this. So first, I want to ask you each a fun question about, if we were to make an engagement plan for each of you, what would be something important we would need to know about you that would be on the plan? So I'm going to start with Maria.
I could probably write my engagement plan while we're sitting here. I was born in Massachusetts, raised in Massachusetts, minus the 12 years that I've been in Ohio. Love the beach, so definitely talk to me about the ocean and the beach and, everything nautical, I guess. I love. And the other thing is I grew up in a Portuguese community. I am Portuguese. Most people don't know that. I do speak and read and write Portuguese, so that is part of who I am.
Wow. Yeah.
So most people don't know that. So
yeah, very cool. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. Elizabeth, what about you?
I'm like Maria, there's a lot, but couple of things. One, I prefer to bathe at night. I'm just a nighttime bather. I have a thing about dirty feet going in clean sheets. So, and then lipstick makes everything better.
I love that. Do you have a specific shade or do you just like all lipstick?
I don't care, but you can go to Walmart in pajamas if you have lipstick on. So
I love it. Okay, Charlie, what would we need to know about you right away?
Well, when you said that, I don't take this wrong, but what's that saying about lipstick on a pig? I don't know. What is that saying? But anyway, the thing that I would want them to know about me is if they're going to put clothes on me, I want them to be overalls and a flannel shirt. That would be my dressing preference.
I love that. I never see you in overalls on Zoom. I think you need to just bring it out. Yeah.
That's what I would prefer to wear. That's for sure.
I love it. Very cool. So diving in, I loved learning that because we're going to get into why those things are important. But I want to dive into just, Elizabeth, can you tell us what is an engagement profile?
Yes. An engagement profile is actually part of our 5 key elements that we like to say set us apart from other memory care communities. The engagement profile is actually where we gather all types of information about the resident that's moving into our memory care neighborhood. We want to know spiritual background, all about their family. What was their routine like before they came to us? What foods they like, what foods they don't like. Maybe there's foods that because of their religion, they're not allowed to eat. They may not remember that, but we still want to honor that tradition. all about their health, all about things that they like to do, things that they dislike, music likes, I mean, anything and everything you can think of. And all of this information is what helps us to be able to provide that person-centered care. Because if you don't know these things, you're just rolling with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that, because also some background, like we have in our other neighborhoods, our independent assisted living, you know, we have those social profiles, but they're more like a 1-pager or 2-pager that's not as comprehensive as this. So I'm excited to get into kind of how we create them and all of that too. Which Charlie, that is why Charlie's here, because he is kind of the man behind creating them. So I want you to talk kind of what that process is like. Can you walk us through that?
I sure can. Well, the engagement profiles are actually completed in the memory care communities or in the memory care neighborhoods. And once they are completed, and they're in point-click care. And so I'll receive notice from the memory care director that a profile has been completed. I'll receive that notice by email. And so I'll access the profile information as well as the resident's photo through point-click care to develop their memory care engagement plan. And so, you know, it's basically the same information, but I'm just converting it into a different form. I'm taking 7 pages of information and turning it into 2. And now when the engagement profile is being developed, the fields have unlimited space. Now, with the engagement plan, however, the fields are limited. So really, the most difficult part of developing the engagement plan is editing the content to fit into the allowed space. Now, once I've completed the engagement plan, I upload it back into point-click care and then notify the memory care director via email of its completion.
So are there any like challenges you run into when it comes to making these profiles?
Yes, there are. Anytime that it is completed in all caps, I challenge, because I am unable to copy and paste any of the information. And also another challenge I run into is if they don't use any punctuation. And then I have to decipher exactly, especially if there's a list of names and information like that, trying to decide where that punctuation mark belongs as far as, you know, fathers, sisters, brothers, so on and so forth. So punctuation and capitalization often give me a challenge when I'm trying to convert that information.
Yeah, and for obtaining it, like Maria, I know the goal is that you do it with the family members. So do you find any challenges there?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes if they don't have time, I will hand them the engagement plan. I prefer to do it with them because it's going to get done. You know, all the questions are going to be answered. If you hand it to them, they tend to kind of skip over some questions, and they don't always want to give you the information. But I do tell family members that the more information that they give us, the better we can take care of their loved one. You know, it helps in many, many ways. So yeah, there are challenges sometimes if you're able to, and a resident is able to remember some of those things. I do try to sit down with the resident, but I always confirm with the family member just to make sure that information is correct. But yeah, it's not always easy.
But that's the thing. I think it's like you're saying, it's not always easy, but it is so beneficial and makes day-to-day life easier if it's done right, which we'll get into that too. I did want to throw out, though, we did have a question from Bree. She wrote a long comment here, but at the end it says, what would you add to the engagement profile to elevate the resident's experience of feeling at home? Is there anything you would add?
Well, I'll add something to that. This is just kind of a general statement in that anytime there are unique life experiences that are added to the profiles, they really make interesting and interactive engagement plans. So unique experiences that individual has had, that I'm able then to add to the engagement plan, really make for engaging experiences for that individual and the care partners.
I love that.
I would say too, and this kind of goes along with what Charlie says, but not to be afraid to put things that may be more difficult to talk about on there. Maybe there's some past trauma. A lot of families don't want to share that, but man, when you're dealing with someone who has dementia, it's really important to have that information if the family is aware of it.
Yeah, for sure. Maria, is there anything you'd add?
No, I kind of tend to agree with Elizabeth, because those traumas are important, and sometimes they relive those and we don't know what they're trying to say or what they're going through. It could be the death of their spouse or a death of a child. Those are important things that we need to know to kind of help guide the resident to where they need to be, feel safe, tell them that everything's okay, but talking about that person. So yeah, absolutely, the trauma piece I think is very important.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't answer those questions.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. I love all that. That was a great question, Bree. Thank you. I'm gonna share actually my screen and show you guys a profile of one of us here. Take a guess before I get it up, but I'm excited to show.
I think it's a plan.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Plan. This is the plan. So Charlie takes the profiles, turns them into the plans, and he made one for us to show today right here. So I love this. Charlie, do you want to point out some things? This is a visual for everybody watching just to see what these turn into, but go ahead and talk about it.
Well, first of all, understand a lot of this information is accurate and is about me. A lot of it I have embellished or to make it seem as though it could be a memory care engagement plan. I do not have Alzheimer's, and I do not sundown, and I'm not 79 years old. But I wanted to make it somewhat realistic as we were looking through it. Now, that is an actual picture of me that was taken at the Burlington sometime back. But anyway, as I was putting this together, it was actually interesting and fun to actually make this and to think about what information I wanted to share about myself as I was putting this information together. And I was actually kind of thinking to myself, I wonder what I would be like if I was in this situation and in this scenario. And so I did include that, and also like on the bottom right there, what the memory care director, what their comments would be, and the staff and everyone. So I tried to make it as realistic as possible because, I thought, well, at some point, maybe Elizabeth or maybe the memory care directors might want to use this as an example, or in training or whatever. So I did try to keep it realistic, but I wanted to fill in each of the fields. And oftentimes, whenever I complete the memory care engagement plans, you don't see every field filled. And in fact, most common, it is not. Because simply when you're filling out the profile, you just don't have all the information. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that this one was filled. So
very cool. And that's what I love just reading as you were talking. I'm like, from my perspective of being a past resident services director, I'm like, oh my goodness, right here. Like Charlie was an actor. Like we can bring that into our events. And same with like how you love to cook Thanksgiving dinner. So it's like, oh my goodness, that'd be a great time to bring Charlie into the planning and prepping for that kind of thing. So very cool. Liz, Maria, you want to add anything about this?
I always write in the first person. It's their care plan. It's an I want this. I like this. It's never once in a blue moon. I'll make a mistake and put the resident's name, but for the most part, it's always an I because it is what their preferences are. It is what they want us to know and want us to do for them. So I always make sure that when I do training with someone, I always make sure that I tell them that when they are doing the engagement profile to use that I as opposed to the resident's name because it is for them. about them.
I love that because I think that really brings to light the person-centered care, and you're reading it
Correct.
as the person. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
I would just add too, because it does get kind of confusing, the difference between the profile and the plan. The profile is the information that the memory care directors are gathering. And that's almost done like, it's like an assessment that's non-clinical. And it's done through point-click care. And so that's when it's the profile. And then when Charlie makes this beautiful 2-page version, it becomes the plan. And I love that it's 2 pages because it can just put down in a sheet protector, and then it's a real easy read, front and back of that resident.
Yeah. And is that something, Maria, that you keep like in the office? Does everyone get trained on it? How does that work?
Yes. I have a copy in my office, in my book that I always keep, and it's updated. I also have a communication book in the wellness office for our care partners, for our memory support care partners. They do have to read them, and they do have to sign off that they have read them, because it's an important piece. You need to know your residents, and all the information that you need is on that piece of paper, pretty much. So yes, like I said, 2 copies, one for me, one for them. They have to sign off on it. When we have new staff members, when we have agency people here, I have them read it also, because again, it gives you a synopsis of what the resident is like and what they prefer, their preferences.
Yeah. Yeah. So diving into the benefits a little more, who do you think this benefits most, the staff or the residents?
It benefits both. It really does. Benefits the resident because they're getting what they like and not getting what they don't like. It also benefits the staff. That relationship is built through knowing things about someone. So understanding the resident's needs, their preferences, their overall health condition, is going to help the care partners take care of that resident better. If you're giving me something that I don't like to eat and it's on my plate, I might not eat it. I might not touch any of it because that's on my plate. So knowing what they like and knowing what they don't. Benefits, again, person-centered care. I mean, I think we thrive on person-centered care. That's what we want our residents to wake up when they want to wake up, go to bed when they want to go to bed. Understanding, it fosters that stronger relationship, it improves quality of life. And to some degree, I think it even increases independence. They're still able to make choices, and this is what I want. And we want to give those residents the ability to make choices for themselves. So yeah, it kind of benefits the resident because they're getting what they want. And like I said, it benefits the staff because you know what you have to do for that resident. You shouldn't be asking questions. It's read that engagement plan and you will get your answers.
Yep. Yeah. I love that. So Charlie, for you, because you've seen hundreds of these, are there any patterns or insights that you think could really improve resident engagement?
Well, yeah, you are correct. I have literally seen hundreds and done hundreds of engagement plans. And, I think there are 3 fields on the engagement plans that are vital to resident engagement. And I think those 3 fields, if I were to pick 3, this would be my top 3. They are the best way to approach me, things I like to talk about, and things that are calming or soothing to me. And I think if I had to pick 3, those are the 3 I would pick if I were considering about how I'm going to engage with that resident.
I love that, picking 3 that kind of highlight it for everyone. That's perfect.
Not that the others aren't important,
right? Of course.
But if I had to know that resident quickly, those are the 3 I would focus on.
Yeah, I love that. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Elizabeth, Maria, I want to see from your perspective of being a memory care director in a community, what is an example maybe of a time when the engagement profile really helped you?
I had a resident, he's no longer here. He was Italian, spoke very well English, was kind of reverting back to his native language, but still was able to carry on a conversation. And he used to yell out, and I, honest to God, I can't remember what it was, in Italian. And we didn't know what it was. The staff didn't know what it was. I knew what it was because I had had that conversation with the son, and I did put it in the profile that this resident yells out for this person. It ended up being in Italian, and it was a nickname that he gave his sister, who he was very close to. A lot of staff actually thought that he was just yelling, and it was just a behavior that he was having. Well, come to find out, he was calling for his sister in the native language, in the nickname that he gave her. I knew that. I told the staff that, and I told them it's in the engagement plan, because that was the first thing that the son actually did tell us, that he was yelling out at home for his sister. And ended up being okay after everybody finally found out that that's what it was. So they would say, hey, your sister's doing okay. She's fine. She's here. She's going to be coming to visit, kind of redirecting him and all that. And it made him feel better, because we finally knew what he was trying to say and who we wanted.
That is so sweet that he called for his sister, and you guys knew exactly what to do with that information. Right. So very cool. Elizabeth, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, but one that I've just been thinking about recently was a woman who had moved in to one of our communities and loved to read. And as her disease progressed, she wasn't able to read anymore. And so books used to be that calming source that we could provide, but then they became where they would almost create anxiety and frustration. So we had to stop with the books, and we switched to audiobooks, which she loved. But, had we not documented that change, we're still giving her books. And if she can't read them and it's frustrating for her, she, of course, is going to have expressions, because that's a challenge. But once we updated it and said, okay, this is no longer, we do audiobooks instead, it keeps her happier.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the questions in the chat was, is this a one-time thing, or do you update as things change? So how often are they updated?
So we update them every 6 months or upon a change of condition. And change of condition just means, sometimes with dementia, you can become ill or have a fall, or there's all different things that can cause you to have a change of condition. It could just be that your disease is all of a sudden progressing quicker. But 6 months or change of condition.
Yeah. There was another question too I'm going to throw up. I don't think this exists, but this is a great idea. So Mara said, is there a system to gather all the information you collect to see who has a lot in common and try to engage those residents together? I think too, like, the beautiful thing about memory care is typically our memory care communities are smaller communities. So being like Maria, you could easily be like, oh my goodness, they wrote that they love poker, and this guy who's lived here for a year has been looking for a poker partner. Like, I think that's where you come in too.
We don't really have a system per se, but again, know your residents. So know what they like. And if you know that they have things in common, that in doing tours, sometimes the family members will ask, hey, do you have anybody that likes to play cards? My mom likes to play cards. So we know that information, again, from the engagement plan. So we try to get those people together. Absolutely. Whether it's a reading circle. We had a resident who loved to read, and she was a teacher, and she would just stand and read to all the residents in the community. But there's no real system. I mean, there's no system that actually says, hey, this is what it is. But
that would be a great idea.
It would be a great idea. Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Liz. Sorry.
I was just saying, it's been years ago, but I had 2 ladies that did not remember each other, but their families knew. They used to play golf at the country club together all the time. And so it kind of helped bond their friendship with dementia,
That's
so.
awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Now, since we are running out of time, this is such a fun conversation. We're running out of time though, so I do want to ask each of you just to give a piece of advice. If somebody listening is like, I want to incorporate this in our community or with my loved one at home, what would be your piece of advice for them? I'm going to start with Charlie.
Well, I guess I would say, that the sooner that your profile is completed, the sooner you and your person with dementia and others can benefit from it.
I love that. Elizabeth, you want to share?
I would just say, definitely you need this information if someone has dementia, and the sooner the better. But I would say to even do it yourself now. I mean, we're talking about dementia, but things can happen. People can have strokes. Things can just happen. You never know. You hear about someone who is in their 30s who has a car accident and can no longer speak. Wouldn't it be nice to have that information? When Charlie and I did a podcast a while back, I printed one and I haven't filled it out. And I've decided I am going to fill it out and I'm going to put it with our will and trust documents in the safe, just so, because some of the stuff I don't even think my husband knows.
That's true.
I love that. Maria, do you have a piece of advice?
I definitely agree with both of them. The earlier, the better, especially if they have dementia, because they might not remember the answers to some of those questions. So yeah, the earlier, the better. Even if it's not so much a profile or a plan that you're doing, but even like a journal. I've started a journal. My daughter came up to me the other day, not the other day, probably about a couple months ago, and said, "Mom, are you dying?" And I'm like, no, why? She went into my computer and she found my journal that I had started to write for her in the event that something happened to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really getting that information as early as you can.
Yep.
I mean, there are a lot of information that Mom may not have told me,
Yeah. And Liz, you mentioned the podcast, which I'm going to ask Charlie. Charlie, what episode can they go find?
If you'd like more information on engagement profiles, you can go to Thoughtful Connections, a memory care podcast number 21.
I feel like I was just listening to that in my earbuds when I listened.
I know.
To your podcast. I will put it in the comments after this, but definitely give the podcast a listen. There's going to be more episodes soon, so I'm looking forward to that. But I think we did it. Thank you so much. Next week, we're going to shine light on our partnership with Steel Valley. So same place, same time. Thank you so much for today, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.